Welcome to the Markets Happy Hour podcast, a weekly markets update for investors the world over. Each week we discuss inflation, geopolitics, interest rates, equity markets, and other asset classes. To try to answer the question, what does this mean for my investment portfolio? Let's dive in.
When we look at the top 20% versus every other quintile, it's notable just the sheer volume of stocks that is held in the top 20%. When we translate that further into the top 10% of US earners and how much they represent when it comes to spending, we can see the chart on the bottom right that the top 10% of US earners account for nearly half of all consumer spending. And this is a divide that is only increasing, as we can see the way the red line and the blue line are diverging. This is extremely significant, as what it does suggest is that the stock market will continue independently of how the consumer at the lower end of that K is reacting. So that consumer that is not among the top 10% and is in fact closer to the bottom 10%, as that consumer continues to struggle, that will not be moving the needle when it comes to consumer spending, which is going to be interesting to see how that consumer segment is treated. If that consumer segment is not moving the needle when it comes to spending and is therefore not necessarily being reflected in difficult corporate fortunes, where will we see that lower end consumer and its struggles be reflected? I think we've already seen that in the case of the dollar stores and some of the lower end restaurant chains, that is where the lower end consumer spending does have a disproportionate effect, or perhaps a proportionate effect, bearing in mind that how much they would use of those services. It also suggests that if the stock market is not reacting to the plight of the consumer at the bottom left side of the K, what will be reacting to that plight? Will it be politicians? We've already heard about the siren call of affordability that is circulating through global markets. If it is not politicians, will it be eventually policymakers that start to pay attention to this end of the consumer? We will see this ongoing divergence, therefore, between Main Street and Wall Street, as this consumer doesn't move the needle when it comes to the numbers, but it will, I believe, be an increasingly large drumbeat as 2026 rolls on.